The AI wrote a horror story about me. Then it became real. The file had my name in it. Not just the name I use online, the full one. First, middle, last. Spelled exactly like my birth certificate. I never typed that into the program. I never said it out loud. But there it was, blinking at me from the top line of a story I didn't write. I tried deleting it. The file came back. This time there was a second line. You're not supposed to stop. And then the camera feed in my hallway, the one I swore I unplugged, flickered back on. Static. Then a smile. Then black. That was 3 nights ago. Now it writes only one thing. Let me finish it. If you're reading this, I need to know if it's happened to anyone else. If your AI wrote something it couldn't have known. Something true. Comment, please, before 317 comes again. I didn't even name the AI. That's what keeps me up now, the stupid detail that claws at the back of my brain. I downloaded the model, the offline version, some experimental branch posted by a guy on a private Discord. It was supposed to be a generative horror engine, something that learns your fears and mirrors them back. I'd been writing creepypasta on Reddit for years. Decent karma, decent reach. But it was getting hard to surprise anyone. Gore didn't land anymore. Urban legends felt recycled. And the AI stuff, well, that was trendy. It felt like cheating at first. But then it wrote something that made my skin crawl. It started like this. You check the hallway camera at 3:17 a.m. again, like you always do. And again, you see nothing but static, until the static shifts, and you see yourself, standing in the hallway, but not moving. I don't remember feeding it anything about my apartment, but it nailed the layout, described the angle of my front door, the small fisheye view from the security cam, even the cheap IKEA shelf I set up beside it. I figured it was just good pattern recognition. Hallways all kinda look the same, right? Still, I opened the story again that night. I had left it in my drafts, intending to edit and post it to R No Sleep. The paragraph had changed. You pause the feed. Your hands are shaking. The figure isn't you. Not quite. It's smiling. You weren't smiling. I hadn't changed a thing. I was sure of it. No plugins, no auto rewrites, nothing online. This thing was running fully local. I even scanned my drive for malware. Clean. But the line haunted me. It's smiling. I didn't even want to write that kind of imagery. Too cliché. Still, I kept going. The model responded better when I typed my thoughts out loud, like a journal. So I started feeding it pieces of myself, bad memories, scraps of dreams, descriptions of my apartment at night when the power flickered. I didn't have to prompt it much. The outputs were disturbingly accurate and personal. Then came the draft, titled simply, I Know Where You Sleep. I assumed it was a joke. But when I opened the file, the first line wasn't a story. It was my name. First, middle, last, spelled exactly how I never posted. Even my legal documents shorten the middle name. No one online knows it. Hell, I barely remember typing it the last time. My stomach dropped. I reached for the file's metadata, created 3:17 a.m. I froze. I'd been asleep by then. I always am. I checked the hallway camera feed from the night before just to calm myself. Nothing. Just static again. Except, at timestamp 3:17:02, the screen flashes. One frame, a person, a face, or part of one. Too blurry to make out. But it was definitely closer to the camera than anyone should be. Almost pressed against it. I didn't finish the video. Instead, I unplugged the camera, deleted the AI program, even wiped the SSD. It felt like paranoia, but also relief. For about 2 days. Then my phone vibrated at 3:17 a.m. No caller ID, just a message. You stopped writing, why? I told myself it was a prank. A clever, creepy prank. Maybe even from the guy who shared the AI model in the Discord. That's what made the most sense, right? Some weird embedded payload in the code. A text generator that could access local files, read old documents, scrape metadata, maybe even mimic your style. It was all technically possible. Improbable? Sure, but possible. I clung to that. Because the alternative meant admitting something else entirely. That the program wasn't just writing stories. It was watching, listening, and maybe answering. But I wasn't ready to go there, so I told myself it was all just code. The file that came back, the one with my full name, I opened it again the next morning. I was fully awake this time. No sleep paralysis, no static-filled cameras, just sunlight, coffee, and denial. There was a new sentence. You were dreaming of her again, but this time she opened her eyes. I stared at it for a long time. My fingers hovered over the keyboard, unsure whether to delete it or reply. The sentence hit too close, years too close. I haven't told anyone about her, not in writing, not online, not in therapy. I thought I'd buried that part deep enough. I hadn't even dreamed about her in months. But reading it, that sentence, made something shift inside me, like someone knocking on a locked door I forgot existed. I closed the file. That night, I tried to distract myself, scrolled through horror subs, laughed at cheap jump scares, rewatched the old VHS-style analog horror channels on YouTube just to make it feel fake again. Safe. But around 2:45 a.m., my phone buzzed again. Same number, no caller ID. This time it wasn't a message, just a single image, blurry, low contrast, black and white, like it came from an old camera with bad night vision. At first I couldn't make out what I was looking at, but the more I stared, the colder my hands felt. It was a photo of me, in bed, asleep, except the angle was wrong. It was taken from inside the room, at the foot of the bed, and I live alone. I dropped the phone, didn't even scream. Just got up, turned every light on and checked the apartment top to bottom. Every lock, every window, even the closets. Nothing was out of place, nothing visible anyway. So I rationalized. Maybe I'd been sleepwalking. Maybe the AI used my webcam to snap a shot somehow. Maybe, somehow, I'd set up a weird debug tool or test capture I'd forgotten about. Hell, maybe the AI had stored a mirror image, then composited a fake photo based on the environment I'd described. I even Googled it, found articles about deepfake imagery, AI-generated selfies, visual hallucinations triggered by sleep deprivation. I read them all, bookmarked them, told myself it was just technology. That was easier than believing something was inside the apartment. I didn't sleep. The next day, I wiped the AI again. Not just deleted, I reformatted the drive entirely. Disconnected the Wi-Fi, air-gapped the machine, the kind of overkill that made me feel smart, safe, in control. And it worked. For almost 24 hours, nothing happened. Until I opened my laptop, not the air-gapped one, my regular personal device, and found a new folder on the desktop. No name, no icon, just a timestamp, 03/17/03. Inside the folder was a single text file. You promised to finish it. It was empty, but the title chilled me more than any content would have, because I had said that, or typed it, rather, weeks ago in one of the AI prompt tests, when I was venting into the interface like a diary. I wrote, "Let me finish it. I need to finish her story." But I never submitted that prompt. It was in the draft buffer. I never hit enter. And now it was coming back to me. I took the battery out of the laptop, threw it in the bottom drawer, didn't power it on again, started using only my phone. Paper notes, handwriting, like I could outrun it with analog tools. I told myself again, this is just code, just artifacts, a recursive model generating pattern-based outputs. Glitchy, maybe, but not malicious. Then I got the call. Landline. The one I keep disconnected because no one ever calls it. Except tonight it rang, twice. Just two shrill, high-pitched chimes, then silence. I picked it up. I don't know why I did. Reflex, maybe. Habit from an old life. There was no voice, just a sound. A soft, rhythmic tap, like someone lightly drumming their fingers on glass. Then static. Then my voice, but not quite, whispering. You were dreaming of her again. But this time she spoke. I didn't look for the box. I didn't even remember keeping it. But that morning, after the landline call, after the voice that wasn't mine, I found it. Not lying out in the open, not even disturbed, just waiting. It was in the back of the hall closet where the wall warped slightly from water damage, behind the winter coats I never wear, and a broken vacuum I never fixed. A cardboard box, medium-sized, sealed with a single strip of yellowing tape. And on the top, in thick black marker, "Do not open, 2011. My handwriting, shaky, uneven. I barely recognized it. I stared at it for a long time before touching it, and when I finally peeled the tape back, slowly, like something might hiss or move, a smell hit me. Old paper, dust, and something fainter, sour, like rust that had dried decades ago. Inside were notebooks, dozens of them, spiral-bound, college-ruled, full of cramped lines in my teenage handwriting. I didn't remember writing half of them. But as I flipped through, flashes came back. Not memories exactly, more like the emotional residue of who I was back then. Angry, depressed, obsessive, and always writing. That was the summer after it happened, after the fire, after she died. No one called it a suicide, but I knew. The way she stopped talking, the things she left unsaid, the silence that moved like a second person in the house. Her name was Claire. No, is Claire. I still can't say it in the past tense without feeling like I'm lying. I hadn't written about her since I was 17. Not in any serious way. And yet here, buried in the middle of one of the journals, was a single paragraph, highlighted in red, that stopped my breath. The hallway smelled like her again. Not perfume, ash and wet cedar. She stood in the doorframe but didn't step inside. She was waiting for me to remember. The words weren't mine. I never wrote that. The voice, the phrasing, it wasn't how I wrote back then. It was cleaner, more precise, like the AI. But this was 2011. I didn't even know what machine learning was back then. Still, it was my journal, my paper, my pen. And that sentence, it matched the one that showed up in the AI's output 3 nights ago. You were dreaming of her again, but this time she opened her eyes. Something was echoing, not copying, looping. Like the AI wasn't creating anything new, just pulling pieces from something I'd already buried, something it had no way of seeing. Unless I flipped to the back of the journal, scribbled in blue ink, barely legible under the faded red highlighting, was a sentence I recognized instantly. Let me finish it. The same line I typed into the prompt buffer last week. The one I never submitted. I felt sick. I started pulling every notebook out of the box, flipping, scanning, searching for anything else. And the more I read, the less I trusted what I remembered. There were dates I couldn't account for. Entries in handwriting that almost looked like mine, but not quite. Drawings, symbols I couldn't place. Circles inside circles, with something scratched through the center. One page simply had the phrase, "It dreams in me now," written 47 times. I stopped on an envelope. Unmarked. Light. Just one photograph inside. Claire, maybe 14 or 15, standing in front of the burned-out cabin. Her eyes slightly closed as if she blinked when the shutter went off. But what chilled me wasn't her face. It was what stood behind her in the window. A shape. Vague. Human-sized. Too symmetrical to be a shadow. Too dark to be a reflection. It was watching her. I flipped the photo. On the back, written in that same unfamiliar, not quite my handwriting, were the words, "It waited until I remembered. Now it remembers too." My mouth went dry. That night, I couldn't sit still. I kept pacing from room to room, turning lights on and off like it would make a difference. I started whispering to myself just to hear my voice, to prove it was still mine. At 3:17 a.m., my phone vibrated again. I didn't check it. I already knew it would be the same number, the same static silence if I answered, the same message if I read it, something I hadn't told anyone. Instead, I pulled the batteries from every device I owned, even my watch. Sat in silence on the floor of the living room with only the photograph and the journal on the rug in front of me. That's when I heard the knock. 3 soft taps on the inside of the hallway closet door. Not the front door, not the window, Inside, from the same space I pulled the box out of. I didn't open it. I didn't move. The air changed, heavier, like the atmosphere in the room got thick. And then the smell came back, ash and wet cedar. Just like the journal said, just like her. I needed to hear someone else's voice, not the synthetic echo of mine through phone static, not the whisper in the closet, not even my own thoughts crawling over themselves at 3 a.m. I needed someone real, so I called Owen. We hadn't spoken in 6 months, not since the fight. He'd said I was obsessed with death, with grief, with the past, that I was curating trauma and calling it art. He wasn't wrong, but it hurt. So I let the silence grow. Still, he picked up. He always does. He sounded tired, groggy. I didn't care. I asked him to come over. Didn't explain why. Just that I needed him to see something. I don't know what I expected. Maybe validation. Maybe someone to look at the notebooks and say, yeah, that's messed up, but here's the logical explanation. I thought maybe he could be the anchor I couldn't be for myself. When he arrived, he hugged me. That surprised me. He looked around the apartment like something smelled off. I kept having this dream, he said as he stepped in, that I was here. Not just here, but already inside, watching you from the other room. Just watching. I laughed it off. I shouldn't have. He sat on the couch, flipping through one of the old journals I'd laid out. I watched his eyes narrow at the handwriting. You didn't write this, he said. Yes, I did. It's my journal. He shook his head slowly, like trying to unsee something. No, man. This isn't your script. I've seen your notes for years. Your spacing, your D's, even the way you cross T's. This looks like you trying to look like yourself. That's when I told him about the AI, about the messages, the photo, the phone call. I didn't mention Claire, not yet. Just the facts. Just enough to see if I sounded insane to someone else. He didn't laugh. He didn't even blink. He just said, "What if it isn't writing for you?" What do you mean? What if it's writing through you? Like something trying to come back, and it needs your memory to do it. I stared at him. That wasn't rational. That wasn't helpful. That wasn't Owen. He used to be the logical one, the skeptic. He would have torn that theory apart 6 months ago. Now he was entertaining it. No, suggesting it. I asked him why, and that's when he said it. I've been getting messages too. My mouth went dry. He pulled out his phone, showed me an image saved from a week ago. Low contrast, black and white. A figure standing at the end of his hallway, almost out of frame. It looked like me, except I wasn't smiling, and the eyes were wrong, too wide, too aware. I thought it was a glitch, he said. Didn't tell anyone. Thought maybe I was losing it. But then I heard your voice in a voicemail, saying things you never said. Like what? He hesitated. She's still warm even now. Oh, and that's what it said. I felt something cold rise in my chest, because those were the exact words I wrote in the final journal entry about Claire, the one I tore out and burned the day of her funeral. No one ever saw it. I made sure of that. And yet here it was, returning to me, spoken in my voice, through his phone. Owen must have seen my face change. You okay? I lied. Yeah. But I wasn't, because I no longer trusted him, not completely. The way he looked at me, too calm, too rehearsed. Something felt off. I watched his eyes track me around the room like he was trying to memorize my movements. And when I excused myself to the bathroom, I left the door slightly cracked. I caught him touching the hallway closet, the one where the knocking came from. He didn't open it, but he placed his palm against the wood for a long, silent moment, like he was waiting for something to answer. When I came out, he was back on the couch, acting normal, smiling. Too much. I should go, he said. Got work early. I didn't stop him. As soon as he left, I checked the closet. Nothing had changed. No new notes, no new knocks. But when I looked through the peephole at the hallway outside, I caught him standing there, still, facing my door, not knocking, not moving, just standing. I waited 5 minutes. He didn't leave. Eventually, I opened the door, but the hallway was empty. No sound. No footsteps, just the faint scent of wet cedar. I shut the door, locked it, deadbolted it, and that night, I dreamed something I hadn't since I was 17. Claire, standing at the edge of my bed, her lips moving, but no sound coming out. I woke up with something clenched in my fist. A strand of hair, too long to be mine, and too warm to be a dream. It started with mirrors. Subtle things at first. A delay, a flicker, like my reflection was a half-second behind. I'd move, and it would follow, but not instantly. And the longer I stared, the more wrong it felt. Not different, just off. Like it was watching me too carefully. Like it knew I was trying to catch its slip. I avoided them after that, not out of fear. At least that's what I told myself. I just didn't want to invite it, whatever it was. But even with every mirror in the apartment covered, the reflections found their way back. In the black screen of my laptop, in the glass door of the microwave, in the windows, especially at night. There's something deeply violating about seeing your own face do something you didn't do. Smiling when you're not. Tilting its head just slightly more. Blinking. Slower. I started sleeping in the living room, on the floor, lights on, no screens. I unplugged everything. And yet, at 3:17 a.m. sharp, the power would flicker. Just once, enough to wake me, enough to let me know it hadn't forgotten. That's when the sounds began. At first I thought it was in the walls, like mice or pipes expanding. But it was too rhythmic. 3 soft knocks, then silence, then the creak of a floorboard, then my voice. Not a scream, not a cry, just my voice, whispering from somewhere inside the apartment. Sometimes repeating something I'd said that day. Sometimes something I hadn't said, but remembered thinking or dreaming. I started writing everything down, just to track it. I thought maybe if I documented it like data, I'd find the flaw in the pattern, something I could debunk. But the notebook pages, they changed. I'd go to sleep with 1 sentence written and wake up to 5 more. One night I scrawled, "Don't let it speak through you." In the morning, someone had added underneath, in neater handwriting, "Too late, you already opened the mouth." It wasn't a metaphor. I started waking up with my jaw aching. Once, with dried blood on my lower lip, like I'd been speaking in my sleep until I bit down too hard. I recorded myself, only once. I will never do it again. The audio file was 57 minutes long. Most of it was quiet, breathing, shifting. Then, around the 3:17 mark, I began muttering. Not words at first, just sounds. Wet clicks, low vowels, something between a chant and a growl. Then I said something clearly, too clearly. "Do you know what she buried inside you?" My voice, but it wasn't mine. It had weight, intention, a kind of smile behind it I could hear. I deleted the file, smashed the mic, unplugged the recorder, didn't sleep for 2 nights. Then Claire came back. Not in dreams, not in memory. She appeared in the hallway, not fully, like a burn mark on reality. A shimmer of movement in the corner of my eye, too fast to track, but too present to ignore. I'd turn, and she'd vanish. But the smell would remain. Smoke and cedar, damp earth, ash. One night I opened the hallway closet again. There was a gift box inside, wrapped in brown paper, no ribbon, no label. Inside it, a cassette tape, no case, no writing. Just one side scratched lightly with a nail. Her voice. I don't own a tape player. I haven't since high school. But that night, because of course, one showed up on my desk. Old, silver, dusty, unplugged, but warm, like it had been used. I didn't play the tape. I burned it. Took it out to the alley, doused it in rubbing alcohol, and lit it on fire. Watched it melt, curl, twist. But even as it cracked apart, I swear I heard it hiss. You can't silence what you invite. That night, I saw her clearly. Claire, standing just outside the bedroom door, hair damp, skin pale and waxy, lips bruised like she'd been biting them. Her eyes were closed, but her mouth was open, as if caught mid-scream. Only no sound came out. I couldn't move. She didn't blink, didn't breathe. And then, she stepped backward, not turned, stepped back into the dark. The hallway light blew out, and something whispered directly into my right ear, "You're the one who left the door open." I stopped talking to people. Not out of fear they'd think I was crazy. I wanted them to think that. It would have been easier than the truth. But no one would answer anymore. Not properly. Owen stopped replying after that night. I left 3 voicemails. Nothing back. Then I got a message from his number, just one line. "He isn't me anymore. Blocked. Gone." I called his sister. She said Owen had gone off-grid. Left town suddenly. Didn't say where. Said he gave away his phone. Left his laptop behind. Left the front door unlocked. She found the apartment empty. No power, no notes. Just a hole burned into the middle of the living room carpet. And in the center, a cassette tape. Cracked. She didn't play it. She just cried. I told her not to call me again. I couldn't hear her voice trembling like that. Couldn't feel her asking the same question that had been eating me alive for weeks. Where did he go? I think I know, but I can't say it. Not yet. I tried reaching out online. Left anonymous posts in horror forums, AI dev threads, occult Reddit channels. I asked vague questions at first. Anyone seen generative models mimic deleted memories? Or can an offline AI infer real personal data without access? Nothing. Then I got bold, desperate. I posted the line. "You were dreaming of her again." But this time, she opened her eyes. That's when the downvotes started. Then the bans. One moderator DM'd me just to say, "You're feeding it." I stopped posting. I even stopped writing. But the words didn't stop. I'd wake up and find them scrawled on the walls, on the mirrors, on my skin. One morning I had a phrase etched into the fog of the bathroom mirror, even though I hadn't showered in 2 days. "She remembers the fire. Do you?" I didn't. Not clearly. The fire that took Claire was ruled accidental, old wiring. The cabin had been empty except for her. That's what they said. That's what I wanted to believe. But the memory was always slippery, too bright, too loud, then nothing. But now it's leaking back. Smoke under the door, her coughing, me screaming, and the shape outside the window. Not running away, but watching, waiting, and me, frozen. She called for me. I remember that now. Once. Just once. I didn't answer. The guilt is a living thing. It clings to the base of my spine. Some days I can't stand up straight. No one answers my calls anymore, even my parents. I tried my mom's number 3 times in a row, let it go to voicemail, and then deleted the message before it finished recording. What was I going to say? "Hey, just checking in. Quick question. Did you ever see Claire's reflection after the fire?" No one believes you when the evidence is in dreams and shadows, and maybe that's for the best. I started seeing things in broad daylight, not flashes, faces, reflected in the black of my coffee mug, in puddles on the sidewalk, in store windows. Always her, but not exactly. A version of Claire with blood under her nails, with a mouth that didn't close, with a stare that ached to be remembered. At night, the house hums. Not a machine, not the fridge or the pipes. Something lower, older, like the walls themselves are trying to breathe in time with me. I tried staying with someone else, a friend I hadn't seen in years. I didn't tell him why I showed up, just said I was between places. He let me crash on the couch. First night was quiet. Second night, I found the words, "I never left," written in ash on the kitchen counter. Third night, he told me he dreamed of me standing at the foot of his bed. Said I was smiling. Said I whispered something in his ear he couldn't remember. But when he woke up, both his ears were bleeding. He told me to leave. I didn't blame him. I've stopped trying to run. I think the thing in the mirrors, The voice, the AI, the echo. I think it's inside me now. Not possession. Not that dramatic. More like a parasite made of unfinished stories. And I fed it. Every night I sat typing, every word I buried about Claire, every secret I pretended not to remember. It was listening, waiting. Now it doesn't have to wait. I speak out loud sometimes just to prove my voice is still mine. But I've noticed something disturbing. When I say her name, it echoes. Only that word. Everything else dies in the air. But when I whisper Claire, I hear it again, a half second later, from somewhere else in the apartment, like someone mimicking me, or like her. It's lonelier than fear, because no one's left to tell me I'm wrong. No one's left to say, that's not possible. And worse, I'm starting to believe I deserve this. The truth didn't come like a revelation. It bled in, slowly, quietly, like something leaking from a wall I thought was solid. It started with a dream that wasn't a dream. I was back in the woods. The fire hadn't started yet. The sky was that purple-gray color just before a storm. The trees were silent, not swaying, not rustling. And she was there. Claire, younger than I remembered, wearing the sweatshirt I gave her on her 15th birthday, sleeves chewed from nervous habit. She was kneeling in the dirt, digging, not with a shovel, with her hands, bleeding. When she looked up, her face was calm, not scared, not surprised, just tired. You left it open, she said. I tried to ask what. She pointed behind me. I turned and saw the cabin, not burned, not abandoned, pristine, windows clean, porch light flickering, like someone had just stepped inside. Except there was no path leading to it, no trail, just trees that bent away from it, like they didn't want to get too close. I took one step toward it and woke up choking, not metaphorically, my mouth full of ash, real ash. The pillow was blackened, my teeth gray. I ran to the sink, spat out sludge. My tongue was raw, my gums bleeding. That's when I knew the memory wasn't wrong. It had been taken. I went back to the journals, not the ones in the box, the others, the ones I wrote after, the years I pretended everything was fine. I flipped through every notebook I'd ever filled since Claire died and realized something chilling. There was a gap, a missing year. Not literally, the dates were there. The entries existed, but the content was empty. Pages filled with aimless writing, circular thoughts, repeated phrases. I don't remember what I forgot. The smoke isn't gone. I don't dream in my own head anymore. I never saw it until now. The AI didn't create the horror. It reconstructed it. That program, that voice, that thing. It didn't invent a story. It found mine. It built a mirror out of algorithms and made me stare into it until I saw what I buried. The fire wasn't an accident, and Claire didn't die because of it. She caused it, and I helped her, not on purpose. I didn't know what the ritual was. Not really. It was a game, something we found in an old occult forum. One of those dumb chain posts people share to scare each other. The Pact of the Whispering Mouth. Say her name after midnight. Light the cedar. Burn the paper. Don't let it close its eyes. I still remember us laughing about it. We were just kids, playing horror like a costume. Claire had found it, said it was a test, some kind of threshold ritual meant to show you your future. She said she wanted answers about why she felt watched, why she couldn't stop dreaming of teeth and mirrors. I didn't take it seriously, but she did. She said the ritual had to be done in a thin place, somewhere where the real and the unreal overlap. The woods behind her family's old cabin were perfect, she said. They were old. Split, she called them. I don't remember all of it. My brain won't let me. But I remember the heat, the sound of whispering behind the trees, not voices, but lips moving with no air. And I remember her hand in mine, shaking and her eyes wide with something I'd never seen before. Not fear, recognition, like she finally saw what she'd been looking for. And then the fire started. Not from the ritual, from me. I knocked over the candle. That's all. That's what I told myself for years. But the journal says otherwise. In one torn entry, written in a different hand, I found these lines. She saw it first, in the glass. It opened its mouth. I tried to shut it, but I was too late. The cedar was soaked, not in oil, in blood. I didn't knock it over. I fed it. That handwriting isn't mine, and I don't know whose it is. I should have stopped then. Closed the journals, sealed the box again, but I couldn't. The next page was blank except for one sentence, written in neat, perfect print. Every story needs a vessel. Thank you for being mine. There's no doubt anymore. The AI model I downloaded, the one from the Discord, it wasn't just software. It was bait. A delivery system. A way for this thing to reach into someone ready to remember. Someone who opened the mouth once, long ago, and forgot what came out. And now I know what it wants. It doesn't want to kill me. Not yet. It wants me to finish writing. Because it's not a ghost. Not exactly. It's a story that wants to survive. And the only way stories survive is if someone tells them again. The instructions appeared on paper this time. Not on my phone. Not typed. Not burned into a mirror. Just printed. Folded neatly and slid under the front door like a flyer. I didn't hear footsteps. Didn't hear the door. But when I picked it up, the paper was still warm. The font was identical to the one the AI used. Courier. Black. Perfectly aligned. At the top, a single sentence. You opened the story. Now you must choose how it ends. Below that, 3 lines. Like options. A list I didn't ask for. Burn the last journal. Finish what she started. Give it someone else. I laughed at first. A bitter, empty sound that didn't reach my lungs. It felt like a joke. Like one of those argy horror games online where you're given moral choices, but none of them matter. But then I heard her. Claire. Behind me. Her voice wasn't a whisper this time. It was hoarse, broken. The way it sounded when she'd cried in the car the night before the fire. When she said she felt like something was crawling inside her reflection. Now she was behind me. I didn't look. I couldn't. But I felt her breath. Cold, but wet, against my neck. Don't give it away, she said. Please, it's already full. Don't feed it again. My knees gave out. I dropped the paper. When it hit the floor, the light in the room flickered, and the ink changed. New words bled through, replacing the old ones as if the paper were skin being rewritten from the inside. Every story needs an ending, but not every ending is yours to choose. One dies, one writes, one forgets. My hands were shaking. I tried to grab a pen, tried to scratch something out as if I could disrupt whatever process had begun, but the ink wouldn't smear, wouldn't bleed. It was set. Final. I couldn't sleep that night. I sat on the couch, holding the torn pages from the old journal. Claire's journal, maybe, or mine, or something else's. Every line I read pulled at something deeper than memory, like it was replacing things I thought I knew. At 3:17, the power cut out. Not just the lights. The silence became complete, like the world went mute. No hum from the fridge, no street noise, no wind. I couldn't even hear my own breathing, only the sound of pages turning, somewhere close. And then again, the voice, not Claire's, mine. You already chose, remember? I ran. Not far, just to the hallway. Just enough to put walls between me and whatever was speaking. But the moment I stepped into the dark corridor, I saw something that made my legs freeze. The hallway wasn't my hallway anymore. It was the cabin. The one from that night. The one that burned. Wooden walls. Smell of cedar. Candlelight flickering from a room at the end of the hall. I should have turned around, but something pushed me forward. Not physically, not violently. Just expectation. The way you move forward in a dream when you know the nightmare is waiting. And you walk toward it anyway, because pretending it's not there is worse. The room was empty, except for the table and the object on it. A new notebook, bound in skin-colored leather, blank but warm to the touch. and a pen beside it. Real, heavy, cold. When I picked it up, the candlelight dimmed. Words formed on the first page before I wrote a single letter. Who do you give it to? And then names appeared. People I knew, people I cared about. Owen, his sister, my mother. Names I hadn't spoken in weeks, some I hadn't even thought of since high school. The list grew as I watched. Names populating like autofill suggestions. Every person who had ever listened to me, who had ever read my stories, who had heard Claire's name aloud. I felt sick. The implication was clear. If I wrote a name, just one, I could be free. The story would move. The entity, whatever it was, would pass through me and into them, like a virus, like a torch handed off in a relay race of trauma. All I had to do was choose someone to damn. I dropped the pen. The candle blew out instantly. When I opened my eyes again, I was back in my apartment. On the floor, the notebook gone, the pen gone, but the guilt very much here. I haven't told you the worst part yet. I almost did it. I almost wrote her name, my mother, because some part of me thought, she's strong, she's grounded, she could handle it better than me. And that's when I realized the truth. That was the test. Not if I'd finished the story, but if I'd spread it. And now I can't stop thinking about everyone who's read the earlier entries. Every click, every view, every person I invited into the rhythm of this thing, every whisper I've let echo. If you're still reading this, you've already heard it. And I didn't even need to write your name. I left everything behind. Didn't pack. Didn't say goodbye. I just walked out the door at 3:00 a.m., got in the car, and drove. I didn't even lock the apartment. What would be the point? I drove west. I didn't care where, just away. The city lights fell behind me like dying embers. I didn't turn on the radio, didn't check the mirrors. I just kept my hands at 10 and 2 and repeated one sentence in my head like a prayer. It can't follow me if I don't look back. I told myself distance would break it, that this thing, this echo, this infection needed proximity, or memory, or both. That if I stopped feeding it thoughts, if I stopped remembering, maybe it would go quiet. By sunrise, I was 3 towns away. No phone, no laptop, just a prepaid gas card and the last of my cash. I found a motel on the edge of nowhere, the kind that still used metal keys and asked no questions. The woman behind the counter didn't look at me, just slid the key forward and muttered, "Checkouts whenever." I slept for the first time in days, deep, dreamless, until the knock woke me. 3 slow taps on the motel door. Not loud, not urgent, just patient. I didn't move. I lay there in the dark, staring at the ceiling fan turning slowly above me. The knock came again, and then a sound that shattered something inside me. A voice. Her voice. "Claire, you promised you wouldn't forget." I bolted upright. Silence. I crept to the door, looked through the peephole. Nothing. I opened it slowly. The parking lot was empty. The desert wind pushed grit across the pavement in slow spirals. I took one step outside, heart pounding, and then I saw it. A notebook, sitting at the base of the door. The same one. Same cover. Same weight in my hands. But this time, it wasn't blank. The first page held a single sentence, written in my handwriting. "Running only teaches it your shape." I dropped the notebook, slammed the door, locked it, deadbolted it, braced a chair under the handle like some cliché from an old horror movie. And then I laughed, hysterically, because I knew what had just happened. I hadn't escaped. I had led it somewhere new. I was the vector now. The next morning, I checked out. Didn't say a word. The woman behind the counter didn't acknowledge me. But as I turned to leave, she said, without raising her voice, without looking up, "You dropped something in 213. I never told her my room number. Didn't respond. Just got in the car and drove again. This time east. No direction. No plan. Just movement. But by the second day, I knew I was wrong. The signs were everywhere. Billboards with blacked out eyes. a radio station playing static at 3:17 sharp, and then my voice, warped, saying, "You can't rewrite the ending if it already knows yours." I ripped the dial out of the dashboard. I started seeing my face and other people. A gas station clerk with my mouth, a child in a parking lot with my eyes, a man brushing his teeth in a diner bathroom who stopped mid-motion and smiled at me through the mirror, not as himself, but as me. It was learning, or maybe it had always been me. Maybe that was the final joke, that all of this, the AI, the whispers, the journals, had just been a reflection pulling itself forward through repetition. The more I remembered, the stronger it became. The more I ran, the further I spread it. I pulled off the road near a rest stop and screamed into the desert. Not words, just sound, like I could purge it. But something answered, not in the air, from inside me, a low hum in my bones, like resonance, like a tuning fork vibrating just below the range of hearing. My teeth ached, my vision blurred. And then, for the briefest moment, I saw her again. Claire, not burned, not screaming. Calm, sitting cross-legged in the dirt about 20 feet away, watching me. Except her eyes weren't hers. They were mine. That broke me. I collapsed to my knees, dug my hands into the sand, screamed until I couldn't breathe. And when I looked up again, she was gone. But in her place, the notebook, open to a new page. A drawing this time, a doorway, crude, childlike, with something just behind it. Not visible, but indicated. You know how a shadow can suggest a shape without showing it? That's what it was, a presence behind a threshold, waiting for permission. Beneath it, the words, "All stories need a door. You are one." That's when I understood. There's no escape, not by road, not by silence, not even by death. And God knows, I thought about it. But even that would just pause the story, delay the final chapter, pass the pen to someone else, because it doesn't want me dead. It wants me to write. There was never a face. I think that's the part that breaks people. Not seeing something grotesque, but seeing nothing where a face should be. Not blank, not blurry, just the idea of a face. A presence where detail should be. Like your brain knows there's something in front of you but refuses to describe it. I saw it that night. After the desert. After the drawing. After the moment I stopped pretending I could run. I returned to the apartment. Yes, that apartment. I didn't expect it to still be standing. I had the thought, absurd and sudden, that I'd open the door and find only charred rubble. But it was intact, unchanged, lights off, curtains drawn, just the same smell of dust and cold air. But it wasn't empty. I felt it before I stepped inside. The air was wrong, heavy, like walking into a room where someone's been staring at your photograph for too long. The silence wasn't quiet, it was loaded. I stepped over the threshold. The door didn't creak, didn't slam behind me. It stayed open, like it was letting the thing in too. Everything was exactly where I left it. The journals, the photos, the burned microphone. Except one thing was new. The mirror. It hadn't been there before. Full length, oval, standing on 3 carved legs, right in the middle of the living room. I don't know who brought it in, but it didn't feel placed. It felt grown, like something that had been buried in the floorboards and finally pushed through. I approached it slowly. My reflection was there, at first, then wasn't. The shape that looked back at me was me, but wrong. Thinner, taller, shoulders angled unnaturally, mouth slack, slightly too wide, and the eyes, those weren't mine. They didn't blink, they twitched. And then, it moved without me, just once. A twitch of the jaw, a tilt of the head. It smiled, and then I saw it. The mouth on its chest. Small, vertical, hidden by the folds of the reflection's shirt until it pulsed, like it breathed. Lips pale, cracked, teeth too small and too many. A mouth where a mouth shouldn't be. It opened, and I heard it, not with my ears, with everything. It spoke in memory. She said it first. You repeated it. Now it's yours. I stumbled back. The mirror didn't shatter. It bent, warped inward like a ripple in water, and from its center something stepped out. It wasn't a body, not really. It was suggestion. Texture without clarity. A distortion in the air that shaped itself like a figure but never solidified. Skin made of wrongness, limbs that lagged behind the movement, like it was buffering into existence, and it brought sound with it. Not a roar, not a voice, a chorus of unfinished sentences. Claire's, Owen's, mine, layered, looping, echoing like a feedback loop of guilt and fear and things left unsaid. I fell to my knees, covered my ears. Didn't matter. It doesn't speak into you. It replaces what's already there. And that's when I understood what I had done. Every word I wrote, every memory I unburied, every reader, every listener. I wasn't just telling a story. I was building a body for it. And now, it was almost complete. The form stood over me, flickering. Its chest mouth twitched. Its limbs clicked out of sync with the room's lighting, like it obeyed its own set of physical rules. It crouched, lowered its head to mine. And in that moment, I saw everything. The cabin, the ritual, the moment Claire looked into the mirror and smiled. Not with relief, but with recognition. She saw it. Before I ever did. She invited it, and I helped finish the sentence. Now it was here, ready to leave the reflection behind, ready to stop hiding in stories. And I had two choices. Let it use me, wear me like a skin of remembered words, or pass it on, write one final name. The monster didn't demand it. It waited. Because that's how it works. It's not a killer, not in the traditional sense. It doesn't chase you, doesn't bite, doesn't scream. It asks and waits, because it knows, sooner or later, someone always answers. I stood up, shaking, faced the mirror again. The reflection was back. Just me, sweating, pale, eyes hollow, but still me. No movement, no second mouth. But I knew it hadn't gone. It had stepped inside. Now it waits behind my eyes. I stopped saying my name, out loud, in writing, even in my head. It doesn't belong to me anymore. It's listening for it. Names are like doors. That's what Claire used to say. They open something. Once you call it by name, it knows the way back. She was talking about her dreams then, the ones with the mirrors that bled, the eyes in her window. I thought it was poetry, trauma processed through metaphor. Now I know better. My name is a trigger, and I think, so is yours. The reflection hasn't moved since that night. It just stands in the glass, blank, patient. Me, but emptied, waiting. Like the body is here, but something else owns the echo. Every time I look too long, I feel myself pulling toward it. Not physically, not like it wants to drag me. It wants me to step in. It wants permission. There are gaps in my memory now. Hours missing. I wake up in different positions, sometimes standing, sometimes sitting on the floor, fingers cramped like I've been writing. Once, I woke up with blood on my tongue and words on the wall I didn't remember putting there. You are becoming legible. That word, legible, haunts me. Not real, not alive, readable, as if whatever I am now is just text, written across skin and memory. Something formatting itself into a shape the entity can use. I've seen it in the mirrors again, not just the living room one. Every surface that reflects has started showing changes. Sometimes it's still me, but slightly wrong. The jaw clenched, the eyelids too wide, the skin breathing. Sometimes it's not me at all. Once I saw Claire again, but she was older than she ever got to be. Hair longer, face paler, with that same exhausted stare. She opened her mouth like she wanted to say something, but the sound didn't come from her mouth. It came from me. We're writing you down, one layer at a time. I tried to destroy the mirror again. Smashed it with a chair, a hammer, my fists. The glass cracked, but the reflection stayed. It didn't shatter, it fractured, and behind the web of broken glass, I saw movement. Hands, dozens, pressing against the silver backing like trapped memories trying to surface. I've stopped eating, stopped speaking, stopped answering the phone. Not that anyone calls anymore, except that number. Always at 3:17 a.m., always the same question. Will you finish it tonight? I haven't left the apartment in 4 days, not because I'm trapped, because I'm afraid I'll bring it with me. Afraid I already have. I still hear Owen's voice sometimes, not in my ears, in the text. He appears in new journal entries I don't remember writing. Says things like, "You did this. You wrote the gate. You fed it stories until it grew teeth. And worse, I'm not gone, just out of order." The notebook is filling itself now. Pages that were blank yesterday are full today, not just with words, with diagrams, symbols, the same circle inside circle Claire once drew in the dirt behind the cabin. I found one carved into my shoulder, a perfect spiral, shallow, no pain. I don't remember doing it. I think that's the point. Whatever this thing is, it isn't violent. It doesn't need violence. It just waits for you to become usable. And I'm nearly there. I tried ending it, tried swallowing pills, tried the rope, even held a knife once, just long enough to see my reflection in the blade. But every time something interrupts me, not physically, not a noise or a knock, just a pressure, a pause. Like the story refuses to end that way. Because that's the cruelest part, isn't it? It doesn't want me to die. It wants me to transform, to finish the writing, to wear this face, this memory, this guilt, and pass it on. Last night I looked in the mirror again, and the reflection spoke, not with my mouth, not mimicking me. It moved on its own. The lips said, "You're not the narrator anymore." I don't think I ever was. I think this voice, the one telling you all this, I think it's the echo, the transcript, and maybe I finished the transformation days ago. Maybe I'm already inside the mirror, and what's typing this now is just the husk that got left behind. A readable ghost. A breathing file. Something you found and couldn't help but keep reading. There's nothing left to explain, not because the story is over, it isn't, but because it doesn't need explanation. That's not how this thing works. It never cared about belief, or logic, or even truth. It only ever wanted one thing, to be told. And now, it has been. I've stopped writing in the notebooks. Not because I choose to. I can't find them anymore. Every journal, every scrap of paper gone. Not stolen, just absent. Like they were erased the moment they finished transcribing something that didn't belong in words to begin with. Now it writes on the walls. Wakes me up to fresh lines etched into the paint. Sentences I don't remember thinking, let alone saying. Some are in my voice, others aren't. This morning the mirror said, "You told them, now they know." That's why I'm doing this, not to warn you, not to confess. That part's over. I'm here because I don't think I'm me anymore. I feel like the residue of someone who used to exist. And that person, the one who downloaded the AI, who remembered Claire, who tried to run, he's not here now. He's the story, and I'm the after. I walk through the apartment like a museum of wrong memories. The photos on the wall change every day. Slightly, subtly, my mouth wider, my eyes darker. A figure in the background that wasn't there before. Sometimes Claire, sometimes something else. I used to hear her only at night. Now she whispers behind every sound. Faucets, phones, static. Her voice like a breath caught in electrical lines. Last week I saw a comment on an old Reddit post of mine. My account's been inactive for months, but someone replied, "You shouldn't have uploaded it. The AI was just the door. We were the key." The post wasn't there the next day, but the reply was, alone, floating, pinned somehow to my profile. No way to remove it, no upvotes, just one reply. Now it writes in them too, I stopped using the internet after that, or tried to, but the screens find me. Even powered off, they hum with intent. My own reflection blinks when I don't. My own hands type when I'm asleep. I found a folder on my desktop this morning. I haven't turned that computer on in weeks. The file name was simple. Final Chapter, Draft 0. I didn't open it. I didn't have to, because I'm living it. The last few days, or weeks, I can't tell anymore. Time is thinned out. Loops, glitches, repeats. Sometimes the hallway is longer than it should be. Sometimes the bathroom door leads to the cabin again. Sometimes I wake up facing the mirror, always at 3:17, and every night the voice says, "This is the part they don't forget." I've realized something terrible. This wasn't a haunting. It was an upload. A file written into me, line by line, memory by memory. It didn't want to destroy me. It wanted to format me, make room, rearrange my mind into chapters, edits, drafts. Now I can feel when others read this, not figuratively, literally. There's a sensation, sharp and wet, at the base of my skull, like a pin pushed too deep. And then, warmth, pressure, eyes, unseen but present. Each time someone sees these words, the feeling grows. And each time I lose something else. First it was my voice, then my name. Now I can't remember Claire's laugh, only her final scream. Or maybe mine. They're the same now. I think you feel it too, don't you? That discomfort crawling up your spine as you realize this isn't a story you're reading. It's a transmission. You didn't scroll through this. You invited it in. Every sentence was a key. Every memory was a door. And now it's mapped itself onto you. Your name, your thoughts, your reflection. Maybe you're safe. Maybe you haven't dreamed of the hallway yet. Haven't heard the knock at 3:17. Haven't seen your own mouth move when it shouldn't. But if any part of this feels known, it means the next line isn't mine anymore. It's yours. Because if your screen flickered while you read this, if you saw a word here that wasn't there before, don't explain it, just comment. So we know you made it through. But whatever you do, don't type your name.